Israel warns Tehran will pay price after Tel Aviv, Haifa attacks, rising tensions and the risk of escalation. In the aftermath of coordinated attacks on Tel Aviv and Haifa that left dozens dead and hundreds injured, Israeli officials issued their most direct warning yet to Iran. The residents of Tehran will pay the price, an Israeli government spokesperson declared, signaling a potential escalation in a conflict that has already engulfed the region in uncertainty, fear, and volatility. The statement marks a dangerous turn in an already fragile geopolitical climate, as Israel accuses Iran of orchestrating or enabling the deadly strikes, while Tehran denies involvement and warns against provocative rhetoric and reckless aggression. The Tel Aviv and Haifa attacks. What we know so far. On Sunday, June 15, 2025, explosions rocked central Tel Aviv and Haifa almost simultaneously in what Israeli intelligence has labeled a coordinated act of war. Bombs detonated in a crowded market in Tel Aviv and near a train station in Haifa, two of the country's most populous cities. At least 52 people were confirmed dead and more than 300 injured. No group has claimed responsibility, but Israel's immediate suspicion has fallen on Iran-backed militant factions, specifically Hezbollah and Islamic Jihad, both of which have increased operations in the past year amid the broader Gaza and Lebanon crises. Surveillance footage and intercepted communications reportedly show signs of external logistical support, and Israel's Mossad intelligence agency has launched a full-scale investigation, now directly pointing fingers at the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps, IRGC. Israel's warning to Iran. A line crossed in a televised address. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu declared, "Those who planned, funded, and supported this attack will feel the weight of our response. Let this be a warning not just to the regime in Tehran, but to every actor that aids terrorism. We will not hesitate." A senior Israeli official later stated anonymously to local media, "Tehran is not untouchable. If the Iranian regime thinks it can sponsor terror on our soil without consequences, its citizens will soon realize otherwise." The phrase, "residents of Tehran will pay the price," has sparked immediate global concern, with many analysts interpreting it as a signal of potential direct Israeli strikes inside Iran. A threshold that, if crossed, could ignite a regional war. Tehran responds, denials and defiance. Iran has flatly denied involvement in the attacks. In a statement released by the Iranian Foreign Ministry, officials accused Israel of manufacturing a crisis to justify further aggression. The Islamic Republic of Iran had no part in the tragic events in Tel Aviv and Haifa. "We strongly reject the baseless accusations. Any attack on Iranian soil will be met with decisive and overwhelming retaliation," the statement said. Iranian state media accused Israel of engaging in psychological warfare and trying to distract from domestic political unrest and rising economic inequality within its borders. Global reaction. A region on edge world. Leaders and international organizations have urged restraint. The United Nations called for an independent investigation and warned both sides against escalating military actions that could destabilize the Middle East further. The United States, traditionally a close ally of Israel, issued a carefully worded statement supporting Israel's right to self-defense while urging strategic patience and multilateral dialogue. European Union leaders echoed this sentiment, expressing solidarity with Israel's victims but warning that retaliatory strikes on Tehran would cross a line with potentially catastrophic consequences. Meanwhile, Arab nations are divided. Saudi Arabia and the UAE condemned the attacks on Israeli civilians, but stopped short of supporting any military response against Iran. Hezbollah and Hamas praised the resistance, though they too have not claimed direct responsibility, possibly indicating internal divisions or strategic caution. The broader context: proxy warfare, AI surveillance, and cyber fronts. This flashpoint is not occurring in a vacuum. Over the last 2 years, tensions between Israel and Iran have increased due to proxy conflicts in Lebanon, Syria, and Gaza. AI-driven surveillance and drone warfare, with both nations deploying increasingly sophisticated unmanned systems. Cyber attacks that have targeted infrastructure, banks, and power grids, many believe to be state-sponsored. The 2025 attacks come amid an already volatile global environment shaped by inflation, climate crises, AI weaponization, and shifting power dynamics. Analysts fear that any retaliatory Israeli strike on Iranian soil could provoke not just war with Iran, but drag in other players such as the United States, Russia, and China. What this means for civilians. The greatest tragedy in any conflict is the toll it takes on ordinary people. In Tel Aviv and Haifa, families are mourning loved ones lost in the bombings. In Tehran, fear is growing as citizens brace for a possible Israeli strike. Civil defense drills have already begun in some parts of the Iranian capital. With both governments doubling down on their positions, it's civilians who remain most vulnerable, caught in the crossfire of military escalation and political brinkmanship. The uncomfortable truth about modern warfare. What this crisis underscores is the dangerous erosion of diplomatic norms in modern conflict. The idea of targeting or threatening civilians as leverage against regimes is not just morally problematic. It's a violation of international law. And yet, such rhetoric is becoming more normalized in today's security discourse. As geopolitical rivalries intensify and new technologies blur the lines between civilian and combatant, the risk of accidental or retaliatory mass casualties grows. What must happen next? Independent investigations. A multilateral team, possibly under UN supervision, should investigate the Tel Aviv and Haifa attacks before any retaliatory action is taken. Back-channel diplomacy international actors, especially those with relations with both Israel and Iran, must step in to open quiet lines of communication. Crisis de-escalation frameworks. The region needs protocols to reduce the risk of immediate war following such attacks, including hotline mechanisms and intelligence sharing. Conclusion: a crossroads for the Middle East. The Israeli warning that Tehran residents will pay the price is not just a headline. It is a potential inflection point in Middle Eastern history. Whether this moment becomes a trigger for war or a wake-up call for diplomacy depends on what happens in the next 48 to 72 hours. The world watches, holding its breath.